Joining us today on Midnight Mania Sports is Philadelphia Eagles writer for The Athletic, Zach Berman. Zach, thank you for taking time to call into the show.
Absolutely, happy to be on.
So, Zach, how did you get to the point where you are now covering the Philadelphia Eagles for The Athletic?
Yeah, so it was a combination of hard work and good luck. I was covering college sports at the Washington Post, and then I went to cover the NFL at the Star-Ledger, where I covered the New York Giants. The Star-Ledger's in Newark, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Did that for 2 seasons, and got a job in Philadelphia, my hometown. I was covering the Eagles. I covered it for 7 years at the Philadelphia Inquirer before I got a call from The Athletic back this past spring and jumped to The Athletic. And thrilled to be at The Athletic, really optimistic about the company and the model. But in terms of how I got here, I worked hard. I tried to kind of treat people right along the way, and I was fortunate that I got some breaks and the doors open when they did.
That's awesome.
Hi, Zach. First off, I just want to congratulate you on getting the job at The Athletic. But my question for you is, the Eagles, they had a nice turnaround to win the division this year. How can they build off their second half success and improve on to next year?
Yeah, it's a good question. Next year's going to be a totally different year in the sense that roster is going to really change this offseason. You're going to see them move on from some of their older players. You're really going to see a change in kind of the core of the team. They've had much of the same core the past 3 seasons, and I think that's going to change. So we'll see. We'll see what the roster looks like. I really think that's the big difference this offseason. This is a different offseason compared to any of the previous few years. So in terms of how they can carry the momentum, obviously if Carson Wentz stays healthy, that's a big part of it. But it's really more than Carson. It's can they build the talent around them, and I'm real curious to see if that's going to work.
And you mentioned they're going to be moving on from some of their key players from the past 3 seasons. One of those guys was veteran linebacker Nigel Bradham, who they declined his option, saved about $5 million in cap space. Where can the Eagles look to replace Bradham?
Yeah, so I think free agency is going to be one place they look. I think they're going to add a starting caliber linebacker in free agency, so that obviously opens mid-March. And then from there, I think the middle rounds of the draft, they have some internal options. Nate Gary, is a starting linebacker who's returning. But I think they're going to add to that position this offseason.
There have been some rumors this offseason of a rift between Alshon Jeffery and Carson Wentz. What does Jeffrey's future have in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I wish I knew the answer to it. I mean, he has a lot of guaranteed money on his contract. And so, if you look at it from a financial perspective, my expectation is that, well, it's really hard to move on from him. Obviously too, he's coming off a major injury.
Right.
He has a Lisfranc injury. If the Eagles were to move on from him, it would need to be for reasons kind of beyond football, because it really doesn't make financial sense to move on from him. So I don't have a firm answer for you. It's a big topic this offseason.
Yep.
We'll see how it shakes out.
And with the NFL draft approaching, there's a few needs the Eagles have to address. What is the number one need the Eagles have heading into the NFL draft?
Yeah, wide receiver. That's probably their biggest need. They need to upgrade the talent around Carson Wentz. So it's a loaded wide receiver class, and I really think they're going to be aggressive. I think they can get 2 receivers in the first 4 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
You talked earlier about Carson Wentz and being able to observe the Eagles up close. Can you give us an idea of what kind of person Carson Wentz is and how he carries himself?
He's a very type A personality. I'll say that to begin with. That's one thing that really jumps out. He's a hard worker. He's very religious. He really likes hunting. Those are kind of some things that I can tell you about him. But as a quarterback, he's got rare talent, and that's why the Eagles invested so much in him in terms of draft resources and in terms of salary. He's their franchise quarterback for a reason, and there's a lot of pressure on him. But he's kind of compensated accordingly. So a lot's left to be written in his story, but I hope that kind of gives a sense of who he is.
Now, with such a big turnaround facing the Eagles this offseason, do you think they can still compete and repeat the second half success this year with a team like the Cowboys or even a team like the Giants who had some improvements at the second half of the year? Do you think adding so many new pieces is going to be kind of a downfall for the Eagles this offseason?
It depends on the pieces. It'll be a downfall if they're not the right pieces.
Right.
And that's to be determined. That's kind of the great part about the NFL all season is the excitement surrounding that and the unknown and the intrigue. And we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, certainly if they don't if they don't sign the right guys or if they don't acquire the right guys, then they're going to have some holes that are tough to plug. But also, when you look at the rest of the division, there are 3 new coaches in the division.
Right.
There are 2 quarterbacks who just finished their rookie year. So the Eagles have more continuity than the other teams. And, they have the same coach now for going into his 5th season. They have the same quarterback going now into his 5th season. That's all positive for them. But it's how do they build around that? And, as we've said, kind of time will tell.
In addition for writing for The Athletic, you are an author of Underdogs, the Philadelphia Eagles' emotional road to Super Bowl victory. What was writing that book like, and where can it be purchased?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. First off, it can be purchased wherever books are sold. So if you get your books on Amazon.com, you get it there. If you Barnes and Noble, wherever you get your books, you can find Underdogs. It was a great process. It was I've always wanted to write a book, and it was just a matter of the right opportunity and the right story. And I was fortunate enough that I covered the Eagles during their Super Bowl year, and there was a lot of intriguing storylines, and I was kind of on the ground floor of it. And it was a whirlwind, but I'm real proud of the finished product.
That's awesome. Well, Zach, thank you very much for calling into the show. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to an exciting year in Philadelphia Eagles football.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me on.